Coming up today on the Village Idiom.
Do you know how you make a kitchen sink?
No, I do not.
Dump it in the ocean.
Dum dum da da, Village Idiom.
Hello and welcome to the Village Idiom.
We are a podcast that takes a popular saying and digs into its usage, its origins, and any other
Super
fun
popular
facts that we can dig up. We're not. The idiom or the saying is popular.
Yeah, super popular is what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, it's super uber popular.
Speaking of, would you ever consider getting your
Teeth pulled.
Here in where we're located in Vancouver, you're going to need a Class 4 license to drive Uber.
Okay.
Would you ever consider driving Uber?
Definitely.
That was just a quick response.
Yeah.
You've thought this through already, haven't you?
I would definitely consider. I think it's fun. I've considered skip the dishes. I looked into it, but it was very slow to come to this city.
Yeah. And you need a Class 4 license.
Yeah.
So our regular Class 5 Joe Blow license isn't going to get it done.
Right. Yeah, no, I think it'd be fun. I think you'd have stories to tell.
Probably.
Yeah, I think that it would.
Any concerns about just oddities rolling into your vehicle?
I actually had a different podcast idea that involved being a driver and just like those conversations being the podcast.
Remember that one that driving idea you had where you like sang songs with famous people, and then just right after that James Corden jumped in?
I was on the edge. I'm like, all I need now is to make 1 million Hollywood connections.
As soon as you get that,
But he beat me.
it would have been a trickle-down effect.
It's annoying.
So
that
what-
guy.
You should do your own version with nobody, like people that are just like random. Call it like
Just whatever comes on the radio.
right.
You have
Uber.
to sing.
Sing this. We're filming Uber.
That's a fun car game, by the way. You just turn on the radio and you're like, whatever song's next, that's yours.
You sing
And
this.
you try and pick a station that, like, if you're not into country, pick a country station, so that you're just trying to.
I'd pick Indian.
Yeah,
Get
then
the
you
light
just got to
bulb.
try and hit the word. And it's amazing how many words you can hit. Just like it starts to kick in, where you're like, the chops start to kick in, where you're like, I know where this is going. My name is Jurassic Mark.
And I am Skitty.
Welcome to this week. This is the end of the summer. This is pretty much, is it official? This would be the last episode of the summer?
This is the summer's last episode. Absolutely. But the party keeps rolling.
Absolutely. We won't have no season stop us.
This is like pepper spray.
Yeah, that seasoning would stop us. Hey, we did a exit room this week.
Yes.
It was fun.
So fun. We got down to E-Exit in Richmond and picked up a Batman theme.
Joker's Last Stand.
It was really fun.
It was great.
We were the group of
There's 7 of us.
the intern crowd.
The interns I had talked about in a previous episode that I hired in the summer. Yeah.
And so it was a good time. They were pretty clever.
They were in there.
And we
Yep.
pounded that room out. We had like an hour and we still had like
They gave us, it was 50 minutes, I think.
we had like 20 left
Yeah,
or something. We beat the snot out of that room.
Yeah, it was, and it wasn't their easiest room, but you start to learn.
Sometimes it clicks.
So so part of it might be we've done a lot of exit rooms, just the two of us.
Yeah, like when
And
we're
so
bored.
having 4
like,
other voices,
what do you
5
do?
other voices
What
going,
are you
what about
doing
this?
this
What about this?
afternoon?
What about this? Maybe that was the help that just kept that ball rolling.
When we went on that Toronto trip last year, we did an exit room every day.
It was awesome.
with our friend B Fun.
That was pretty great.
Yeah, that's awesome. Really enjoyed them. I did one with my kids last night.
Oh, did you? You went to another one already?
Yeah, and
Where'd you go?
What
was the theme?
The Surrey E-Exit. It was the museum,
Yep.
the antique museum. We were on the last. We
Room.
had we're the last room, the last puzzle, the last thing you need to do to open the last door. We're working on that. We got the things necessary to make it all happen. Knew what we were doing with the code. We just ran out of time. We needed like 1 more minute. We had everything.
Oh man,
We had everything.
So
It was
you're-
done. There's
you're
no more.
there.
Yeah, it wasn't like, oh, what do we have to do? It's like we had everything necessary, and we were just putting every little thing at it, and we had it. Just one thing
TikTok.
one thing we didn't have was time.
Time.
Yeah. We just literally 1 more minute would have done it for us.
Yeah. Well, that whole like that many people and you're working on one thing, all at one thing.
You're just putting
Everything.
all the resources.
All
at
ideas
it.
are good.
You're
Just
putting all the
say
resources
anything,
at it.
Anything you
Maybe
want.
that would segue us nicely into today's idiom.
All right.
Now the state's going all out here. They've got this whole team here. They're throwing everything but the kitchen sink at this case.
There it is. Everything but the kitchen.
Everything
sink.
but the kitchen
And
sink.
that was classic The Devil's Advocate with Keanu Reeves and his southern accent.
That's nice.
He's a
I
natural.
hear they're rebooting Matrix 4.
I heard that through the grapevine.
And it's going to be Keanu Reeves.
That's a miracle right there.
That is amazing. I guess after all his John Wickness, he's
apparently like infamous. That's the wrong word.
No, he's just famous.
He's famous. Did you hear he's famous now?
Yeah.
No, he is well known for being one of the kindest superstars on the set. Like he'll often take out like the bottom rung, okay, I'm taking out all the grips today, and he'll buy gifts for like craft services and
nice.
So everyone in the service part of Hollywood is just like Keanu Reeves. He's a hero, which I think is just cool to know about somebody.
Yeah, that he's kind outside of just his popularity from all his movies.
Yeah, he's just a good guy. I've heard story after story. Yeah, so that was Devil's Advocate, 1997. And so today's idiom is everything but the kitchen sink, which basically it's just its regular usage is you've tried everything. Mm-hmm. Or it comes with everything.
Yeah.
Or like literally it's just a ridiculous way of saying this has it all.
When I was investigating into it, there's a whole food genre called the kitchen sink.
Okay.
And so it would be like this is a kitchen sink casserole, where it's like, what do you got in the fridge? And now it's everything. It's the little bit of those leftover ham bits. It's got some egg. It's got peppers. What do we got in the fridge? It's a kitchen sink, whatever.
Interesting.
So Panera, the
bread company,
the bread restaurant-y type thing, they have a kitchen sink cookie.
So
yeah, so it's just that it's such a popular thing. So it's like got chocolate and caramel and pretzels and salt and so, but it's their kitchen sink cookie.
Yeah.
Panera's.
See, it's become, you don't even have to say everything but the kitchen sink. You can just say kitchen sink, and you got an idea of.
Speaking of kitchen sink,
it's like having a swamp Slurpee, right? Like
yeah,
it's like it should be kitchen sink Slurpee.
We also took in not together but at the same venue. We were at Weird Al this week.
Oh yeah. That was this week. Yeah, that was a big one.
Talk about kitchen sink.
That guy
has so many genres.
So I was thinking about that because obviously every song sounds like Weird Al.
It's like polka version.
But I went with my son. You were sitting in a different part of the place, but saw each other. And we started talking about the band. Like, how good must the musicians be to just cover that many genres?
They were literally throwing everything but the kitchen sink in there.
Like you've got there was country, rap, R&B,
everything.
All of it.
Yeah, plus like a 41-piece orchestra,
right, strings attached to her
to go along with it.
And you want to really talk about everything like the kitchen sink? That audience.
Yeah,
it was all kinds of people.
So I don't,
which I'm lumping myself into.
Yeah, but it was like full of Mulletsville.
Costumes.
Yes, people were done right up. It's really interesting. So eclectic.
More Hawaiian shirts in that arena.
That was you and me.
I think Hawaii.
Yeah, you and me were.
There was a lot though. Everywhere around us was all Hawaii shirts, or wacky shirts, whatever.
It was so fun. I was just amazed at the diversity of what he could throw in, and I hadn't heard that the Adult Swim version of Weasel. Was it Weasel Hunting Day or something? Weasel Stomping.
So funny enough,
Weasel Stomping
Day. Funny enough. I had never heard that song before the drive to the concert where we were listening to all things Weird Al, and up comes Weasel Stomping. I'm like, what is this? I've never heard this one.
Never heard it before.
So I was actually really glad it came on. There was a few songs I wanted to hear. I really wanted to hear White and Nerdy.
Right.
As just one of my favorites.
Yeah.
But he did some waybacks too. He did Yoda. He did he did a weird version of Like a Surgeon. It was great. It was a great show. It was fantastic.
It was the idea that he just threw everything at it.
Yeah, it was good.
And so I thought that was interesting.
Works well with today's thing.
Do you know how you make a kitchen sink?
No, I do not.
Dump it in the ocean.
That's good. Did you make that up?
No, I've got a whole nother one I made for later.
That's really good.
But I came across that one.
That's really good.
It's not really good, but it's the job done.
Pretty good.
Just let that sink in.
Yeah. No. Oh no. You get how many of those are coming?
There's a couple.
I'll do a giveaway on the joke I'm not going to say.
Okay.
Because I'm like, it's just too cheesy. But in the end, let's just put it this way: the entire boy band called NSYNC was at the doctor's office for a rash. He gave him a prescription that it'll take everything but the itch and sink.
That's funny. Yeah. I also have one, my joke that I can't do. My kitchen sink joke because it's dirty.
The kitchen sink is.
That is my joke.
That's a good one too.
So ridiculous.
Well, speaking of white and nerdy, let's get into the dirty nerdy of some of the origins of this.
Say what you got.
I said some words, where'd they go? Where'd they go? No one can know. I turned around and looked behind. Those words came from another mind. Origins.
All right. Well, the origin of this phrase is actually a little bit unclear, but not that unclear. I don't know how much digging in you did or if you left it up to me, but some believe it came from World War II, which doesn't actually seem to be the case because the expression is seen in writing before that, but it was in a newspaper regarding World War II. And so in 1918, in the Syracuse Herald, it said, I shall rather enjoy the experience through the stitlons, which, by the way, I could not find a definition for stitlons, but that is the actual quote.
I've had them, but a little ointment cleared that right up.
Cleared up the itch and sink.
My stitlons.
Though the stitlons are full of people trying to get out and the streets are blocked with perambulators, bird cages, and everything but the kitchen sink. But that was...
You're just going full out Snoop Dogg on me right now. You're making words.
That was the...
Whoa. You said three words in there.
The kitchen sizzle.
You said three words in there that I've never heard before.
The stitlons, perambulators, kitchen sink.
Dr. Seuss.
Yes, so stitlons. I'm like, what is it? I can't say this word without knowing what it means. It is nowhere, but that's you can find the quote all over the internet, but you can't find a definition to it.
For a stitlon?
Yeah. Stitlon.
That sounds
made
crazy,
up.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they're talking about.
Seuss.
Talking about chaos, streets blocked with perambulators and bird cages.
And hump doodles and wang doodlers. Yeah, exactly.
Everything with the kitchen sink. But in that actual quote, the 4 or 5 words, everything but the kitchen sink, is actually in quotes, which they say implies it was already a phrase. So that predates World War II. But what they're pretty convinced on is that there was another phrase very similar, same in its meaning, similar in its words, everything but the kitchen stove.
That could be where it comes from then.
Yeah, that predates in writing and literature.
You've bought and sold places and all the rest of that. Have you ever had those stipulations put upon you when you're selling your place?
Yeah, so
like
that
you
came
can't
up
take
too.
these blinds.
Right.
It's like, well, what?
Did you ever see the movie, what's that Richard Pryor movie? I think it's just called Moving.
Okay.
And so he's selling his home. No, he's buying a home in a new place. He hires Dana Carvey to drive his Audi across the country.
Okay.
That's its own story. But when he pre-flies out there to buy a place. He's moving his whole family. It's this terrible, chaotic road trip. But when he's looking at the home they're going to buy, it's like, hey, this is a great sink. And this like Texan guy is showing him around. You're going to love this sink. It does this. It does that. Blah, 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 blah. But you're not going to get it because I'm taking it with us. And they'd all laugh. And he'd go through every item in the house. Walls, doors, toilets. Look at how, and at first Richard Pryor's laughing. Like, funny joke. But he does it 100 times. Like, it's the same joke every time.
In the end, does he take it all?
In the end, it's a gutted out shell of a home. And he's got a recorded contract. Verbal contract.
Right.
It's recording. I told you every one of these items. I said, I'm taking it with me.
Right.
And
That's funny.
Yeah, that house literally did not come with a kitchen sink.
When I sold my first place, it was I had not experienced that. So just being the new kid on the block, and they're like, and these blinds here, you'll have to leave these because they're screwed to the wall. Anything that's mounted or screwed or whatever has to stay. But you're like, well, these blinds, the bracket is screwed to the wall, but the blind isn't.
Right.
Or this is on a dowling that's over top of a hook thing, and this isn't. But I'll leave that for you because I didn't want it anyways.
Yeah.
But it was just weird that it was.
Well,
why are people taking...
When you are purchasing homes, sometimes it specifies like what appliances are staying and what aren't. In fact, in some of the origins of looking up this idiom, people's comments below saying, I don't know if this is true because my mom told me like that when his, I think, this was just a person chiming in on a forum, their grandparents were like, oh no, you would take your kitchen sink with you. Like every home we bought, you'd bring your old kitchen sink.
That's a terrible idea.
And I'm like, is that true? Is that a thing?
It'd be so much work.
Yeah. Of all the things.
Like your furniture, I get why. So, but then leaving the kitchen sink, so it's everything but the kitchen sink. Or the previous one, everything but the stove.
If you're taking everything but the kitchen sink, it's like, okay, they're taking all their appliances. They're leaving the things that are mounted. That kind of makes sense. But if you're traveling from home to home and you got to take your kitchen sink.
You must really love that sink.
Right? It better be a good sink. So anyway, the everything but the kitchen stove, it goes way back to like 1890 something. You know what I was thinking about though, like, because the kitchen sink or everything but the kitchen sink is a pretty well used phrase. Like we've all used it in some, and I bet you a lot of salespeople use it. Like you're like, this car's got all the bells and whistles. Here's another one. It's got this and this. It's got everything but the kitchen sink. But you're referring to a car. But I wonder if you're selling appliances, like you're talking about a stove. And this stove, you can preheat, you can broil, it's got everything but the kitchen sink. You can still use it. But what about the guys who are selling kitchen sinks?
I would go to bells and whistles.
Yeah.
If I was in the appliance business.
This sink, it garburates, it eats it, it does this, it does that. It's got everything but the kitchen. Never mind.
Anyways, it's got bells and whistles.
It's state of the art.
When we were...
how many bells and whistles can a kitchen sink have, really?
Well, there's immediate hot water.
Oh, yeah, that's a thing. Instant hot?
Instant hot. Is that what it is? I don't have it.
I don't either.
You got the garburator.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
That's a brand name. Please refer to it as a garbage disposal.
Okay. Copyright. Ricky Bobby. What about the telescopic wand thing? Is that a feature?
Yeah, the sprayer?
Well, I don't know. Is that what it's called?
No. What do you mean? The
like so that you...
Yeah. So you pull it off the tap and spray. Yeah. That, like the one element of a kitchen sink that has won people money on Funniest Home Videos.
Yeah.
Put a rubber band on it. Walk away.
That thing. But
yeah,
I'm starting to run out. That's 3.
Yeah, and there's no bells. There's no whistles. Maybe you'd sell more sinks if they actually had bells. This one has bells and whistles. You got the double sink.
Well, and then there's whether you mount the sink on top of the counter, which can be hard to wipe into.
Or sunk.
Or it's a sunken sink. Which is easier to wipe into. Must be more challenging to mount.
Right. Yeah, fair enough.
But then you can wipe right off the counter, right into it.
Doing it every day.
Sunken sink.
So that's it. Everything but the kitchen stove goes back to the late 1800s. Everything but the kitchen sink was first typed and recorded during the Second World War, but it definitely predates
and
that.
It was a war reference to, like, you're throwing everything at them.
Yes.
Like I've given them the whole 9 yards.
Exactly, which is another. Yeah. We've just
but it's the same. It's a similar vein.
Yeah.
Of thought that you've just given everything that, like, we've done all that we can do. Everything but the kitchen sink.
I bet it was funny the first time. I gave him everything but the kitchen sink.
I'm sure it's in some sort of Hogan hero type war movie
like
where they actually drop kitchen sink.
Yeah, maybe. That's probably true.
It's like dropping nukes and whatever, but
we used everything but throw that too.
Like the airplane movie.
We tried everything. Yeah, exactly. So that's the end of that for origins, but it's I think this is one of the more, I think out of all the idioms we've covered, I probably use this more than any of the other ones. Like oh yeah, this is everyday language. This is
well, it's more applicable.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. You tried a variety of things. You threw everything at it. What do you want?
I've done it all. I've tried everything but the kitchen sink.
It's funny because so speaking of that, we are in the throes of the final ends of our gold hunt.
You guys have heard us talk about gold hunt. It's the There's multiple cities in Canada and the U.S.
Here is
Did you know there's American cities doing this too now?
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens in this next round. So the next round begins on like the 29th or something like that.
Yeah,
August.
so we've got a treasure chest hidden somewhere in our city.
$100,000.
We got a map.
We have thrown everything but the kitchen sink at this. We
Yeah.
have there's 20 riddles in total, and we have 19 of them solved.
Yeah.
Somehow, those equal one final location, the 21st, and we can't find it.
If you're listening to this podcast and you can help us out, send us a note. But no, let's talk about throwing everything but the kitchen sink at it. Like we have the one missing riddle that we haven't solved, but we also have this everything else figured out ish, so that we're like, well, do we need that one? So we've thrown everything but the kitchen sink at that one, and we've thrown everything but the kitchen sink at trying to solve based on the 19 we do have.
It looks like our map of varying locations looks like someone blasted a shotgun at a map, and there's just marks everywhere for how it all interworks and connects. We've thrown everything at it. It hits that crazy point of frustration.
Well, and that is the crazy thing, because we start going crazy. Like, you think you're onto something just because something works.
The part that is
Like,
really mesmerizing.
The word Brown is in this riddle, and my cousin's last name is Brown, and they...
You start working weird things
Yeah.
in that don't fit, but you force them to fit in a... I'm trying to be bring it out in a sensitive
So I was down on Robson Street, and a van drove by. Vancouver. What are the chances?
It's not good.
Okay, those are extremely stupid ideas, but we have tried all the stupid ones as well.
Right. And so, the final things, talks about, a paired this and that. And so you start looking at like paired things where it's like, well, those two trees are the same.
Yeah, maybe they're the
We
pair.
should look underneath. Yeah. There's so many.
Yeah.
Where it's vague enough that it's so all over it's like a splatter shot of like taking a piece of crap and throwing it into a fan. It's just...
Yeah, and
go here.
We've got a third person helping us, J-Po. We've had other help too, but he's out there. Like,
J-Po was hardcore.
God bless him for the amount of
J-Po is hardcore.
hours he's put in, both locational and online and research.
Yeah,
I mean, we're all trying to do our
savage.
part, but he's
savage.
He's pulling more than his own weight.
Yeah,
for sure.
I got my own crazy on board, but he's... I feel like an amateur to him.
I love it. We talked about this the last round too. I just love that, again, it works with what we're talking about today. Like, he throws the most bizarre, just to see what sticks kind of thing. Like, literally everything but the kitchen sink. And then I think he throws the kitchen sink. Like, he just...
And he goes back, picks it up, throws it again.
Yeah. I love it. I love it so much.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure and a frustration this round.
Yeah,
It's been a month now.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I just want anyone to find it at this point.
No, I want us.
Still by us. Anyone, I mean you and me and J-Po.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, here, you'll recognize this one.
Okay.
Oh, you'll recognize this one.
Are you coming along with the circuit switchover?
We're putting everything but the kitchen sink into the impulse power, sir.
Nice. So even in the future, what you're saying.
That's right.
This is still...
I was going to say 1966, but you're right. That's the future.
So even in the future... This is still applicable.
Yeah, it's everywhere. Endless quotes. Quotes. Hey, did you hear about the here's my joke.
Okay.
Did you hear about the very talented artist that did a picture of a cross section of a house? You could see the care he took in the details of every room. Someone approached him and he said, "Hey, can I ask you a question? What mediums did you use to make this amazing piece?" And he replied, "Everything but the kitchen sink. That's watercolor."
Nice.
I get it.
I do. I like it. That's good.
All right, man. Well, why don't we do a little something we like to call Riddle Link? Riddle Link.
I'd love to get into some. I know we're heading into the home stretch of things, so we should cover this.
All right, Riddle Link is a game we like to play that we propose a two-part trivia-based question, and it requires a two-part overlapping answer.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Well, I am more than happy to go in first, and then you can finish it up and send them home.
Okay, sounds good.
Because the idiom is so crazy long, it was. Did you find these a little more challenging today?
No, I was on it.
Yeah, me too. I was just seeing if that happened to you.
Okay, before we do it, I meant to have this ready, and I was seeing if I could pull it up quick enough. But somebody sent me one. One of our listeners sent me one from last week. So last week's episode was called, what was it? Dropping Like Flies, right? Mm-hmm. So he said this: the opposite of being gathered together quickly to listen to this popular 5440 hit. And so it has to do with dropping like flies. The opposite of people gathering together quickly, which would be people dispersing quickly. So dropping like flies.
Okay. Well,
feeding you the answer. Do you know do you know 5440 very well?
Like every time I look at you, I go blind. Baby ran. Yeah, that's the end of it.
That's it? Well, then you'll never get it.
She something. What do you got?
It's lies to me.
Yeah.
So dropping like flies to me. I just appreciated someone reaching out going, I got one.
Which is
kind of how this game is.
If you do end up wanting to challenge us with some of these or drop in your own, you can reach us at the.village.idiom on Instagram, or email us at thevillageidiompodcast@gmail.com, or Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Look for 3 Minutes Gone.
That's 3, the number 3, minutes gone.
Here we go.
Okay, give me one. Give me one. Give me one.
All the stuffs.
What?
All the stuffs fell into the earth.
All right, so I'm going to go with everything but the kitchen sink. Everything but the kitchen sinkhole. Is it?
Yes.
Yes.
It's different than a goose hole. It's everything but the sinkhole.
Everything but the kitchen goose hole. Okay, I'm going to give you the one I think is more fun. All the bells and whistles for the ghosts of Pac-Man.
Oh. Everything but the kitchen sinky, blinky... Twinkie and Clyde.
Close. Everything but the Blinky, kitchen sinky, blinky, Pinky and Clyde.
Something like that. Twinkie is
Twinkie.
Twinky's the yellow one with
everything but the kitchen.
The yellow one with
Twinkie.
He's the yellow one with the whipped cream inside.
Yep.
That's who he is. Okay, ready?
Yep.
Tinkerbell's boyfriend eats this bread restaurant's confections.
Peter Pan. Oh, I don't know. Is it Pandera? Pantera. That's a band. Peter Pantera, Panbretta, whatever you said earlier.
It's Panera.
Not Pantera. Peter Panera. Yeah, I got that right away, first time.
Eats this bread restaurant's confections.
Peter Panera bread?
It was the type of when you put...
Oh, Peter Panera's kitchen sink. Bread.
That's it.
Is it really?
No, Peter Panera kitchen sink cookies.
Yeah. Oh, cookies, right. I forgot it was
kitchen
cookies.
sink. It's got to have a kitchen sink.
Yeah. Okay. I feel like a failure right there.
How about like soup?
Especially when you talk about something earlier in the episode and I still can't get it. It drives me crazy.
It doesn't matter. Whatever.
I know you just told this story.
I don't even listen to me.
Panera bread, cookies, kitchen sink. Blinky,
it could be
Pinky
a casserole. It could be a muffin, a soup.
Hey, did you know that they've actually linked the long lifespan of Baptists to their casseroles at their potlucks?
No.
That came from the well-sourced Babylon Bee today.
I see. That's lovely.
You said casserole, popped into my head.
When you're eating potluck, though, no telling, because some people are not into potluck.
It's true.
And so because they're like, I don't know where this came from and germs.
That? Yeah.
I love potluck.
Oh, me too.
Yeah. Whatever people's things, like I made this.
The weirder the better.
Yep.
Yeah. Especially when you get international, different cultures, whatever. Like, don't tell me.
Yeah.
Until I eat it. And then I'm like, was there spine in that?
African pepper soup.
Well, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, it was like a black soup.
I get it.
It was so hot and peppery that it was like fire, water. It was really weird.
So
I loved it.
Oh, okay.
So your soup was like, ooh, that's pepper. Oh, that's really peppery. Yeah, this black peppered soup.
That sounds awesome. I don't think I was not I was not at that potluck. I would have gone back for that. I love the spicy.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to give one to everybody. And so don't answer if you get it. This is going out to all our legitimate children out there listening. And Skinny's already told you how to get in touch with us. So if you have a great story about how you threw everything but the kitchen sink at it, get a hold of us. Or if you know the answer to this riddle link, get in touch. Everything but the what we call the celebration of the Mexican army defeating the French Empire.
That's ridiculous.
Everything but the what we call the celebration of the Mexican army defeating the French Empire.
That's elaborate.
They'll get it.
If you get that, please make sure to get a hold of us. We've enjoyed putting together today's episode. We hope you've enjoyed it too. I am Skinny.
I am Jurassic Mark.
And these are the Village Idioms.
She took everything but the kitchen.
Last 3 minutes gone.